we've seen some major deals in the M&A space recently. Investor reactions being captured in massive moves in these firms' share prices. Let's get into some of these moves with James Whelan from Barclay Pearce Capital, who joins me in the studio. Hello, old friend.
Hello, old friend.
So we've been looking at this healthcare move with Sigma and Chemist Warehouse.
Yep.
Huge, but you're looking at a potential upside for Wellnex.
Yeah, there's some other bits and pieces in there as well. First off, I'll set the scene. We just completed the transaction for Wellnex, which has been on the market for a while, since about 2017. Formerly as a different name, with a chart that probably wouldn't look amazing at it. We've just completed a rights issue with an extra raise on that as well, which is good. That'll keep them going to buy pain away. I'll get to that in a second. But the idea also is that they've got a couple of JV products that are with Chemist Warehouse as well. So we're seeing that the alignment that they have with the Sigma Chemist Warehouse now getting bigger, it helps them no end with what they can have. Also, sort of the alignment with Mario. I just had his name. His name is just gone. But the COO of Mario Tesconi is joining Wellnex. So he's from Chemist Warehouse.
Right.
He's joining as chairman of Wellnex as well.
So basically, this merger, this $8.8 billion behemoth that's going to become, is just changing the landscape for healthcare.
It will change the landscape for healthcare. It'll make, and not to go too much into that deal because it's not my business at the moment, but it's definitely is changing the idea that combined entity will just be a super giant, and also the fact that Chemist Warehouse said that they're going to be expanding overseas as well means that anyone who's aligned with Chemist Warehouse, you're going to see those products become much more accessible overseas, and sales will almost certainly go up for those ones too. So not only Wellnex, but also have a look at some of the other products that are in and aligned with Chemist Warehouse. There could be some good activity on the market, especially in the small cap space. Yeah,
and is that because some of their marketing expenses and the like also becomes less because they're kind of tied up in this?
Yeah, that's right. So you don't have to sell or align with two different places. If you're with Sigma and Chemist Warehouse, you've just got one place to do it. It just becomes bigger. Not that it's a monopoly, but certainly it's better to be aligned with a much bigger entity than it is to be aligned with two mid-sized entities, as this case we'll see.
Yeah.
It's going to be a hell of a year ahead.
Indeed. Well, speaking of that, I mean, we've had Fed pivot day. We're seeing the Dow at these record highs. How are you just looking at the overall landscape as we round out 23?
Gee, volatility is cheap, isn't it? What was it last time? Last time the VIX was down here, it was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
We've just seen an all-time high on the Dow. As much as I want to say it's a time to be bullish, it really is. We have been quite significantly bullish, and I've had the tail up, going straight into it as best as I can. I might just want to thin a little bit out going into that in the last couple of days of the year. I know it's not a time when people do a lot of things, but maybe just shave a little bit off and see what happens in January, because as much of it's been priced in, especially with what Powell said this morning, where all of a sudden he's switched from being, we're not going to do anything until it goes below 2%, to now sort of basically capitulating. It seemed very strange this morning. And the market has now priced that in. It's just like, what more could the market possibly price in? It's all fully priced. If that's the case, then maybe lock in a few profits, especially if you happen to be, you have that end of year line that needs to be drawn underneath what it is that you're going to do.
Yeah.
You get that locked in.
Well, I was just talking about the NASDAQ up some 51% over the year.
Thanks to the seven.
Thanks to the Magnificent Seven. Does it become I think Scuddy tweeted this the other day, does it become the Magnificent 93 next year, and some focus on the other stocks in the NASDAQ?
I'd probably want to have a little focus on small caps, and bringing it back to my business of something like Wellnex that comes up. You have a look at the tailwind. So Wellnex comes back on the screen tomorrow morning. After this, now becomes a massively profitable company. It's bought. Sorry to focus on what I'm talking about.
No, that's
it becomes a massively profitable company now that it's bought pain away. The sort of the second biggest sort of the pain thing that you rub on yourself and makes everything go away.
Yeah.
Massively profitable company. Everything all merges together. You have a look at some of these shining stars in the small cap space, like this one, and you see what the Russell. You look at what the Russell did this morning, and it was Scuddy. G'day if you're watching as well, David. It was the Russell looking at that all green across the entire board. You're going to see that maybe being the place where you'd want to be in the Russell. How much more you're going to stretch out of the 7, I don't know. I don't know how much more overweight you need to be in that 7. The other 93 though, I mean, there's a tailwind for the rest of the market, but I think that there's probably more of a tailwind in the small cap space and Aussie small caps as well, especially if you can see some bright stars in there. Is it time to mention maybe that Wellnex is going to be trading at 1.4 times 2025 earnings?
we got the memo on Wellnex.
I got the memo, what? It's my job.
You also provided us with a tweet, I think we can pull that up, of a Ford 150
Merry Christmas, yes.
pulling a bogged Tesla Cybertruck up a hill to get it out of trouble.
I hate these vehicles.
So what is this telling us about, the future of automated driving?
Well, automated driving, I mean, have a look at the recall from Tesla this morning. That's effectively their entire fleet that has to go, and that's because of the automated driving. As much as I don't really trust it, but I don't really trust anything, people would also, and studies have shown this, people would all rather make sure that people are driving their own cars than automated vehicles, even if you show them facts in front of them to say that automated driving is actually safer. People will absolutely never let someone else or some other thing have control over their own destiny like that, because people are irrational beings. Tesla is not a stock that I'd want to be in. That Tesla Cybertruck I think is insane. I don't think Christmas, and this is a bit more fun stuff, but I don't think Christmas could have come early enough for the Ford marketing team to have an absolute gift presented to them like that, of having an F-150 dragging a Tesla Cybertruck with a Christmas tree
and look
on
at
its
Tesla
roof.
over the 5 years, Ford I should say over 5 years, yeah.
Yeah, so it's Ford, I do prefer that. As much as I do like the internal combustion engines, I'm a much bigger preferer of the hydrogen engine. Not for passengers, but we're going to see commercial in hydrogen being the place where probably, that's another one of those shining stars that you want to be a part of as well.
Yeah, and just finally, I mean, we were talking earlier about AI and Alexa and Siri, and you should always be nice to them, but you're saying even CBA now collecting data.
That's a very interesting one as well, and I don't really know what to make of this, but I saw something pop up with CBA talking about that we are tracking your data as part of being able to generate an image of your carbon footprint as well.
Okay.
Seems very strange to be able to. We're collecting your transaction data so we can correlate your spending habits with carbon emissions data based on Australian averages. I'm not sure why they're doing this, but there is some reason as to it. It just sort of goes that, well, companies are making sure that they are going on that green direction.
Yeah.
I think maybe individuals want to make sure that they're going in that green direction. I don't know if the carbon footprint is really the direction that you want to be going on that one. There's some other places that we should probably be pointing the finger as opposed to myself and how much I'm using my little MG.